The story of the Japanese army soldier hero Onoda, who did not surrender until 29 years after the end of World War II. Hiro Onoda was an intelligence officer in the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. In 1944 he was sent to Lubang Island in the Philippines with strict instructions not to surrender under any circumstances. His orders were to fight to the death or wait for orders that came from the Japanese leadership. In 1945 World War II ended, but Onoda and 3 of his colleagues did not believe the news of Japan's surrender. They thought that this news was just a trick from the enemy to convince them to abandon their mission. They lived in the jungle for years, and launched small attacks against local villages, believing that they were still at war. Throughout those years the locals tried to convince them that the war was over, and the Japanese government even dropped leaflets from airplanes with direct orders from their leadership to surrender. However, Onoda insisted on ignoring all these attempts as he was convinced that the war was not over and remained loyal to his original orders. Onoda continued his personal war until 1974, when a Japanese explorer named Norio Suzuki came to the island to search for him after hearing his strange story. Suzuki managed to find Onoda, but Onoda refused to surrender unless he received direct orders from his former commander. When his story was learned in Japan, his former commander, who had long since retired and become a civilian, was brought to the island and ordered to surrender. It was only then that Onoda agreed to lay down his arms, having continued to fight for 29 years after the war ended. Hiro Onoda returned to Japan as a hero and a subject of great interest, with his story admired by some for his loyalty and resilience, while others saw it as an example of stubbornness and isolation. Onoda's story remains one of the most fascinating in modern history, combining courage, loyalty, and extreme devotion to carrying out orders with a touch of eccentricity and humor.